like what specific retribution or justice should happen to anyone who is involved in these things. But I think your point about let's make sure this doesn't happen again is the one that I'm more focused on. Right? Because it's the thing that I reflect on my journey on all this, which is like, okay, yeah, so we didn't take down the stuff that was true, but we did generally defer to the government on some of these policies that in retrospect I probably wouldn't, knowing what I know now. And I just think that that's sort of the journey that we've been on, is like, okay, we start the thing focused on free expression, go through some like pretty crazy times in the world, get it pressure tested, see where we basically ended up doing stuff that led to a slippery slope that we weren't happy with the conclusion, and like try to reset. And that's sort of the moment that we're at now, is trying to just rationalize a bunch of the policies. And look, I mean, obviously crazy things can happen in the future that might unearth something that I haven't, some kind of angle on this that I haven't thought enough about yet. So I don't know, I'm sure I'm not done making mistakes in the world. But I think at this point we have a much more thorough understanding of what the space is. And I think our kind of values and principles on this are likely going to be much more durable going forward. And I think that that's probably a good thing for the internet.
I think it's a great thing for the internet. I was very happy with your announcement. I'm very happy that you took those steps. I'm very happy you brought Dana White aboard.
Oh, he's awesome. Been talking to him for a while about that. I mean, he's like, talk about like an amazing entrepreneur, right? Yeah. It's like, I just want, like, because I control our company, I have the benefit of not having to convince the board not to fire me, right? It's like a normal corporate environment. It's like basically the CEO just tries to like, they're just trying to convince the board to like let them have their job and pay them more. It's like, all right, the board doesn't pay me except for security, and I'm not worried about losing my job because I control the majority of the voting in the company. So I actually get to use our board to like have the smartest people who I can get to have around me help work on these problems. So it's like, all right, who are the people I want? Like, I just want like the best entrepreneurs and people who've created different things. And like, I mean, Dana's like this guy who, I mean, he basically took the sport from being this like, I think it was viewed as like this pretty marginal thing when he got started, right? I mean, I think John McCain was trying to outlaw it, and now it's like, I think it and F1 are the two fastest growing sports in the world. It's got hundreds of millions of people viewing it. It's like, I mean, what Dana's done with the UFC is like one of the most legendary business stories, and the brand is beloved. And I think he's just, so he's like a world-class entrepreneur, and he's just like he's got a strong backbone. And I think part of what the conversation that I had with him around joining our board was, okay, like we have a lot of governments and folks around the world putting a lot of pressure on our company, and like we need some like strong people who are going to basically, help advise us on how to handle some of these situations. And so, yeah. That's, but yeah, I mean, running this company is not for the faint of heart. I mean, there's definitely a lot of pressure from like all these different governments, and then it's like, okay, I could spend all my time doing that, but I'm not even a politician. Like I just want to spend my time building things, right? So it's, so yeah, I think Dana's going to be great.
He's the best.
Great entrepreneur.
I agree with everything you said about him. Without him, none of the UFC would have ever taken place the way it did. I mean, you needed the Fertitta brothers. They had to come in with all the money and the vision, and that man. I could call him up. I'll call him up at like 2:00 in the morning sometime. Like there's some fight going on, and I'll say, "Hey, this is going on next weekend. I'm so pumped." And we'll talk for hours. He just wants to talk about fights. He's like so locked in, like all the time, And he's just like so driven. And now that he's healthy, like oh my God, he's got like, what Gary Brecka's done for him is incredible. He lost all this weight, got super thin, real fit. Super healthy. He doesn't fool around with alcohol anymore. He just eats healthy food. He looks great. Now he's got even more energy.
Yeah.
It's incredible.
Well, we're lucky to have some of it.
Yeah, we are.